Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, January 23rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick you see right there will also be moving and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, GNS, which was a monster on Thursday and a monster today. Although a little bit of perspective, if you're somebody that you bought right there on the gap up, well, today turned out to be a gap and trap, so not looking so good for you. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, then the price put in higher highs, the price put in higher lows. So generally speaking, the trend is still going in the upwards direction. But in the very near term here, I want to talk about a couple of newer levels. First level just being this level of support that stands out pretty clearly right there at $2.85. You can see that not once, but actually twice, price came down there and did find some buyers, which does not guarantee that there's going to continue to be buyers there, but it's at least plausible that if the price were to go down there and you would say, hey, I think there could be buyers down there, you would have justification to think so because, like I said, twice before, there has already been a couple buyers. So keep an eye on that from a support standpoint. And then as far as a level of resistance is concerned, you got to think that there's a ton of people watching that level right there at $3.70. You can see multiple times, both there, pretty close right there. Price could not quite get above there. So whether you want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy or whatever, it is valid to think that if the price were to go up to that level and then get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could very well create that much more buying pressure. So definitely keep an eye on that, as in my mind, that's the most intriguing level on the chart. Next one, HLBZ. And yeah, this is a very ugly looking chart, but as you longer time viewers know what I'm going to say next, there can be opportunity in the ugly. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, things are looking rough, but a couple different ways you could approach it. The first off is if you like to play breakouts, and this is actually a pretty crazy trend line right there. I mean, look how steep that thing is. And you got to think that a lot of people have taken notice of just the steepness of that trend line. Again, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. No guarantees, but is it valid? Is it rational to think that if the price comes up here and can break that trend line, that could spur on another round of upside pressure, upside momentum? Yeah, not guaranteed, but a valid thought to have. On the flip side of things, if you like to play more so pullbacks and you want to see a bit more blood, a bit more panic show up, then there's a very interesting level down here right at the 16-cent mark that you could keep an eye on. So like I said, it's more so a matter of, well, first off, do you even like penny stocks? But then if you do you prefer to play breakouts, or do you want to try to play a pullback and then a bounce? That's where everybody's different. But in my mind, these couple levels are going to be areas that a lot of people will be watching, and therefore you could potentially have some of those self-fulfilling prophecies. Next one, LYT, another very, very eventful day here. Bigger pullback, but within the grand scheme of things, all we actually have is a bullish pattern because we got to look at the big picture. So yes, there's no doubt about it that right here, there's been a downwards channel that has formed. You can't argue against that at all. However, you got to ask, well, what was happening before this downwards channel? Well, you had this big old surge up like that. So now all I've done is created a bull flag pattern. As I've been mentioning, no guarantee. So I wish I could say that just because there's a bullish pattern means for sure guaranteed the price is going to continue to go upwards. Not quite how it works. Again, would that be shocking? No, I don't think that would be shocking to see a bull flag breakout. But just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean you'll get continuation in the upwards direction. But if you do like to play bull flag patterns, if you like to play, this price range down below $5, then I definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, COSM, very, very powerful move. And as I speak, and again, this is why I like to do these when the market's open, you can see actually quite a bit of profit taking all of a sudden showed up during this last 30 minutes here. So yes, if you bought right there as a day trader, then right now things are not looking so good. But assuming you care about the big picture of things, even with this pullback here during the last 30 minutes, nothing has been ruined. The chart's not destroyed by any means. So it's really just a question of a couple different levels moving forward. First level is that key breakout area in my mind, right up there at that $6 mark. So if this thing can turn around, get back up to $6 and then push up through it, that could very well create some good solid buying pressure. Or if you like to play more so the pullbacks, a couple different areas. First level that stands out right down there around $4.75. But then if you want to be even more aggressive on it, potentially seeing if the price wants to pull all the way down there to that pink line, which is the very famous 200 period moving average. You can see actually once the price has already bounced off it, and current value of that is down there right around $4.30. So a couple different choices there from a pullback standpoint. But overall, at the core, what matters most, big volume, big price movement. It does have both of those. So we'll see if this can carry into Monday. Next one, AMC, and a pretty big question mark here headed into Monday. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. And you longer time viewers, you know probably what this question mark revolves around. But we've been tracking this trend line for a very long time. This trend line has a very, very solid track record. Even you look at today, the price has bounced off it a couple of times. But zooming back in, I just want to show you where that trend line was coming from. But you can see that as of now, the price is below the trend line. Now, just because the price is slightly below level doesn't mean that, okay, that's officially broken and it's all going to be game over. But it does, I'm not saying that at all, but it does prompt the question, is this the start of a bigger move to the downside? Once more, no, there's no guarantees that just because it's slightly below that level, that means it's a true breakdown and this thing's going to collapse. But it does present a very wise question to start to be asking and monitoring. Okay, let's make sure that this breakdown here of the trend line is not all of a sudden the leading indicator of a much bigger reversal to come. So that, in my mind, is certainly going to be the most interesting and the most important dynamic to watch, is to see how the price continues to behave. The further away from this trend line the price gets, the more and more panic that is going to show up. In terms of levels of resistance, this level right here continues to stand out pretty strong at 585. Price got somewhat close to it earlier on in the day. But like I said, in my opinion, the most important dynamic moving into next week is all about that trend line and how does the price behave relative to it. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency to manage risk as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then definitely get signed up for the free live training. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and overall, very, very impressive day, very, very impressive afternoon as the price is just slowly and steadily grinded upwards. And now it seems like this level up here, the red line resistance, becomes a very valid question because it's getting within striking distance. So that just brings up the question, if this is tested, are the bulls going to have enough power? Because let me squeeze things down. The past couple of times, the price has been up around this area. You can see going way back here, and then more recently right there, the price did fail to gain any sort of continued momentum. That doesn't mean that it'll happen again, but it just illustrates that that level up there at the 136 mark is certainly going to be a very, very important level. So keep an eye on that if this slow and steady move continues to grind. In terms of levels, there we go, of support, the ideal level that you'd want to see continue to hold is going to be that purple line right there. But even if it doesn't, which you can see right here, good job of holding. But even if the price comes down through it, the way more important level is down there around the 125 mark, which is completely irrelevant right now because the price isn't anywhere close to it. But nonetheless, those are going to be the couple areas of support moving forward. But yeah, no doubt about it. Slow and steady grind. Can this grind carry it up to that 136-ish mark? And then can the price push up through it? It's looking like Monday, Tuesday of next week is going to be pretty interesting. Next one, WISA, and I like this one because there's just such a well-defined breakout point right here at the 16-cent mark. So it goes back to the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies because I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that's a great discovery on my part, a special talent. No, a lot of people are watching that level, and when lots of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements, and that's what we have right here. So if the price can come out of this consolidation, which I would argue is a good, healthy consolidation, you can see it's got a nice little uptrend to it. So if it continues to maintain this uptrend, can work its way up to that level and get the break up through it, then yeah, no guarantees, but valid to think that a break of 16 cents could very well create additional buying pressure. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as the levels of support are concerned, just kind of pointed that out there. But this got this trend line in place right now. So keep an eye on that. Let me change that to green to represent more so a bullish dynamic of things. So overall, nice little consolidation pattern, shows the ability to move and move very quickly. So if the volume can return and if it can get up back up there and through 16 cents, then yeah, that could definitely spark just that much more excitement. Next one here, MULN, a very, very popular one, and I had no plans of doing it, but all of a sudden this afternoon happened where you had that huge surge in volume right there. You had the price make a big move up. And the key here is it's not like the price surged up and then went right back to where it was. The price has maintained itself. So does that guarantee anything? Of course not. But And if you've traded long enough, we've all been there, right? Where you're in something, there's a huge surge in volume, price makes a great move, and then it just goes right back to where it was. Just a completely phony move. But that didn't happen here. Did the price keep going up? No. But did it collapse all the way back down to where it was? It did not. So it's maintaining itself right here, which just brings up the very interesting question of, all right, the big move happened. The move has sustained itself. So is this just the leading indicator of an even bigger move next week? Maybe not. But think about what's got to happen in order for me to even ask that question. Well, something worthwhile, something interesting has first got to happen in order to be able to ask that question. And we do have that. For a lot of stocks out there, nothing interesting ever happens. So you can never say, oh, wow, is this the start of something bigger? Because nothing happens to begin with. But here we did get that question, or we did get that movement. So we can ask that question. Big volume. Maintain the move. So is this just a contemporary consolidation before another move back upwards? Worth at least keeping an eye on, especially if you like penny stocks. Next one here, GOOGL. So we're looking at Google. Big movement today after announcing that they're going to lay some people off. And in this situation, what we've already had. So if you like to play bull pennants, which we had right there, that opportunity has already passed because, well, the breakout has already occurred. But this is why I put it in the watch list strategically, because same exact general premise now. So something worthwhile, something interesting has happened. The breakout has happened. So we can ask that same exact question. Okay, bull pennant breakout, is this just the start of a much bigger move in the upwards direction? Again, to be fair, maybe it's not. Maybe the price rolls right back over. But that's a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is the start of something even bigger, and this thing keeps grinding and grinding going into next week. So yes, the initial movement has already happened. The breakout has occurred. But now we can ask, is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Let's see what next week has to offer. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ market. So if you think that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. Big difference being just this one allows you entry at a much lower price point, which is why it's so popular. And I mean, yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due. Very, very impressive move, especially when you consider, think about it. This is what things looked like going into today. I mean, you had yesterday the price completely roll back over, and then today you had the gap up, and then the rest is history. It just slowly kept grinding and grinding higher, which makes for a very impressive day. And now you don't want to get too excited because there's still work that needs to be done from the bigger picture point of view, that being relative to that red line up there, which I've talked about several times before. And it looks somewhat like Tesla. I mean, you still have that overall level there and there right at 21. So yes, from a big picture standpoint, $21 remains kind of the skepticism point, meaning, yeah, it was very impressive today. The chart's looking solid, but I'm still a pretty big skeptic because until the price can break above and then stay above $21, like I said, for me, I'm remaining skeptical, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the past couple of days, especially today with the follow through of how yesterday finished, very, very impressive movement. So we'll see if the price can get up to that $21 mark. In terms of levels of support, if the price does pull back at all, then the key level in my mind that you definitely don't want to see the price dropping back below at this point is going to be that $19.50 mark. But all in all, got to give credit where credit's due. Very impressive movement, but I'm still not quite convinced. So let's keep an eye on that $21 mark. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live training. It'll be, like I said, next Thursday, January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching next week. But those two things help out the channel. They help out these videos, and they communicate to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know that you are enjoying, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that free training. Hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and have a great weekend.